If we don't act now, my island nation will be submerged by the rising sea.
If we don't act now, the Arctic ecosystem will be lost forever.
If we don't act now, our forests will turn into deserts.
Hotter temperatures and drought will threaten our farmlands.
Our emissions will continue to pollute the air.
If we don't act now, warmer oceans will cause more severe storms like Hurricane Katrina.
If we don't act now,
This is climate change.
This is climate change.
This is
Climate change.
climate change.
There is something you can do about it.
help seal the deal.
We are here in Copenhagen, Denmark, ahead of COP15, the United Nations Climate Change Conference. In December, this beautiful city will play host to world leaders, environmental campaigners, lobbyists and business people as they try to come up with a global agreement to supersede the Kyoto Protocol. In this series, we have travelled the world, learning how business and green policies can and do go hand in hand. But while environmental agreements such as Kyoto have proved difficult to implement, companies around the world have long been taking on the challenge of climate change by transforming the way they work and think.
The Arizona desert. Temperatures have been known to reach 125 degrees Fahrenheit or more than 50 degrees Celsius. Little survives in these harsh conditions. Despite this, Arizona has been one of the fastest growing states in the US throughout the 20th century, with a population of approximately 7 million. The majority live here, the bustling state capital, Phoenix. The city's location under the direct glare of the desert sun has meant it's the perfect host for a company at the cutting edge of one of the fastest growing alternative energy sectors, solar photovoltaics. First Solar was founded in 1999 as a producer of thin-film solar voltaic panels that convert the energy of the sun directly into electricity. Today, the company employs more than 4,000 associates worldwide, and its annual production capacity has increased from 25 megawatts in 2005 to an expected 1.1 gigawatts in 2009, making it the world leader in solar panels. Key to its growing success is the development of a solar conductor material that has economic and environmental benefits over traditional designs. It uses an ultra-thin film of a compound called cadmium telluride.
We use a different approach with a different type of semiconductor material, so-called thin film, that allows us to deposit much thinner layers and do it in an automated, continuous throughput process. So it lends itself to much lower cost as a starting point.
Using a manufacturing system called CopySmart that ensures processes are identical from factory to factory, the company produces panels in less than 2.5 hours each, at the lowest cost and with the smallest carbon footprint in the industry. Scaling up the production and thus reducing per unit costs means the price of solar electricity is also reduced for the end user, traditionally the main criticism levied at solar energy by opponents. In 2009, First Solar achieved the lowest manufacturing cost in the industry, at 87 cents per watt. This is compared to $3 a watt in 2004. The $1 per watt cost barrier is widely accepted as the point at which solar panels become cost competitive with fossil fuels. The company has more than doubled its production capacity in 2009, allowing it to further reduce costs to a point where energy from solar panels can already compete with peak conventional energy in some Sunbelt markets.
If you look at what we've done the last few years with cost reduction, we've come down the cost curve much more rapidly than the wind industry did. And I think solar will, given market conditions, be on a steeper trajectory and reach economic viability at a very early point.
The thin film technology allows First Solar to succeed even in northern countries such as Germany. Here its solar panels are powering the world's second largest solar farm, which has just been completed. The Liberus project will provide 53 megawatts of electricity, enough to power a small German town. The project was constructed on 162 hectares of land that was part of the Soviet Army's former 26,000 hectare Liberos training area north of Cottbus in eastern Germany. Before construction could begin, this former Soviet Army base had to be cleared of the tons of landmines, grenades and other munitions that littered the site. The project is seen by the German government as a model for the conversion of former military premises to productive land.
Also es ist für uns aus mehrerer Sicht sehr wichtig. Erstens ist es wichtig für den Klimaschutz. Wir haben hier ein schönes Beispiel, dass auch in Europa große Solarkraftwerke möglich sind. Zweitens ist es wichtig aus Umweltschutzgründen. Wir hatten hier vorher eine schwer altlastenverseuchte Fläche, die von den russischen Truppen bei ihrem Abzug hier hinterlassen wurde. Munitionsbelastungen, Sie sehen es hier, und vieles andere mehr, Chemikalien.
His views were reflected by central government ministers, who were invited on an official visit of the site to lay the 560,000th module, making it officially Germany's largest solar field. The project is expected to displace approximately 35,000 tons of CO2 emissions a year, in an area where most power still comes from burning coal.
Wir ernten Strom, wir ernten die Sonne, und das ist weltweit vorbildlich. Deutschland setzt Akzente, indem wir erneuerbare Energien ausnutzen. Weg vom Öl, weg von fossilen Brennstoffen, weg von der Atomkraft. Das ist unser Ziel.
The power plant will consist of 700,000 modules, providing the electricity needs for 15,000 homes. Local residents have given the project their seal of approval.
Also erstmal, das ist hervorragend angelegt. Die Fläche in Lieberose wurde sehr gut genutzt und man muss sagen, wir tun sehr viel dafür für die Umwelt.
The Liberose scheme is the first of a number of high-profile projects soon to be undertaken by the company.
I mean, there are so many sites that are under development, so this is something that's in a very early stage of the industry, and we clearly expect that there will be very large systems in the future, like this one, and even larger ones.
With the announcement of a 2-gigawatt project in China, the future is looking bright for the company. In the lead-up to the COP15 Climate Change Summit in Copenhagen, the Chinese government has responded vigorously to the challenge of sustainable economic development, environmental protection and climate change.
Well, we announced a memorandum of understanding today with the city of Ordos, which is located in the Inner Mongolia region, to develop a 2-gigawatt solar park. It will be built over a number of years. We're in the early planning stage, but the first phase construction will start in 2010.
A world powered by clean, affordable solar electricity was once seen as an idealistic dream. But as solar power becomes an affordable alternative fuel source, the Arizona desert could be on the brink of an extremely bright future.
COP15 is undoubtedly the most significant global climate conference since 1997, when Kyoto was adopted. The hope in December is that governments and stakeholders will seal the deal on a climate agreement that will succeed the Kyoto Protocol. One sector that will have to totally reinvent itself is the construction industry.
It is estimated that buildings and associated products account for nearly half of the world's CO2 emissions. The starting point for improving the performance of the construction industry is the products and building materials and the solutions that are chosen. ETEX Group is one company leading the way in providing sustainable solutions. With more than 90 subsidiaries across 42 countries and 14,500 employees, ETEX Group is one of the world's largest building material companies. The company specialises in 3 major areas: roofing materials, boards, and floor and wall coverings.
Something must be done to reduce these CO2 emissions that we have in the world. We have to make sure that we survive on long term. So we are convinced of this, but moreover, ETEX is a producer of building materials, and we are convinced that we can make a difference with building materials to reduce CO2 emissions.